Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, let's discuss about string slicing and what are the inbuilt methods for string in Python. So, if you want to access any particular element in a string, you can just specify that particular location of the string in square brackets. So, for example, if you take here, you can see I have created a variable a and I have stored string Python in that. So if I want to access any particular element in this, you can just mention that specific particular variable and you can mention the square brackets and you can specify so particular location of that. So if you see here for Python, if we take this example as Python, the location is nothing but index of that particular element. So if you see the index starts from 0 and it ends at length of that particular string minus 1. For example, if we take Python, the number of characters in this string is 6. So indexes start from 0 and it ends at length of string is that is 6 minus 1, that's 5. So 0 to 5 is the indexes. So if you want to access, if you just mention a of 0, you can see 0th index, it means this p, so you can access that p. And similarly, if you want to access last character, you can just mention that particular index. So here it is 5, so a of 5, it means n. So in this way you can access that particular character. And if you want to access this last character in a string, you can do it using this negative indexes even. So the negative indexes start from -1, it starts from end and its last to number of elements in the string. The number of elements in the string are 6, so it starts from -1 and it lasts to -6. So that's about this negative indexes. So even you can access that using this negative index. If I just specify a of -1, you can see even if a of -1 is n, and if I want to access this p, you can specify that particular index of -6. So in that way you can access any particular element in a string. So this is accessing a particular element, right? So if you want to access some part of the string, like if you want to access some substring in the existing string, that's called as slicing. So you can do slicing. So this is the syntax for slicing. You can just mention that particular string and you can similar way you can mention whatever part you want in square brackets. So here you have to know 3 things while slicing a string, that is the start and end, where you have to start slicing and where you have to end that slicing, and what is the step count. So let's discuss all this with this string. I am specifying a, that particular variable a, and so if I just specify this, so from this example you can understand that it starts from index 0 and it slices up to third index. You can see the h is the third index. So this end part which we mentioned here is non-inclusive. So even though if you mention that 4, it will consider up to 4 minus 1, that is 3, up to 3 only it will consider. This 4 is non-inclusive. So it starts from 0. 0 means this is the index of p, and 4 generally it has to print 4 means it has to 4 it means the index of o, it is the index of o, but it just sliced up to index 3. So that's you have to understand while slicing a string in Python. Let's understand with some other example. I am starting with from 2 and I am mentioning up to 5. You can see 2 it's index of t and 5 it is non-inclusive, so it will print up to 4. So t h o, that's what it printed. So that's slicing here. So in that way you can just slice the string, and if you want to if you try to access while through slicing, if you want to access entire string, you can just specify just colon here. You can see you got entire string, so entire string Python. So in that way you can access everything. You can even slice the string using this negative indexes even. So let's do it with negative indexes. I will start with here -5, and I will end with -1. You can see -5 is the index of y, so it started from here. So we have mentioned up to -1, right? -1 is the index of n. Similarly, in the previous case, how the last n which we mentioned here is that there is non-inclusive. Similar way here, this -1 is non-inclusive. It will just specify, it will just slice up to this -2 only. So in that way you can just specify, you can just slice the string using these negative indexes. We just use it up to now, we just used this start and end to slice a string. You can even specify this step if you want to slice string. So let's understand how we can use this. So I'm just specifying that variable. I'm just starting with index 0 and printing up to index 5. It means it will take up to index 4. It will just slice up to index 4. I'm mentioning step is 2. You can see here it started from index 0, that is p, and the next index is 1, so the next it has to print is y, but we have mentioned here as step as 2. So what it will do is, first it will print p, and next it will skip this y and it will go to t, and again it will skip this h and it will print o. So that's about this step. Using this step we can mention this, we can just slice the string. And if you mention this step as 1, this is normal thing, like we have, this is same as not mentioning this step even. And even you can mention step as negative even. So let's understand that. I'm mentioning a, and I'm starting from -5, starting from -1, and I want to print up to, like I'm using end as -5, and you can use -1 as step. So you can see it started from -1. It means if you just mention here, you can see -1 is the index of this n. So it starts from n, and it will, -1 means in negative direction, in opposite direction it will print the values. So the next thing is o, and the next one is h, and next one is t. So and here is and -5 is non-inclusive, so up to here -4 it will slice that string. And if you just mention, if I didn't mention this -1, if I just use this -1 to -5, you can see nothing, it's written an empty string. It means that -1 is n, right? So if I have said you before, if you didn't give any step, it will defaultly take as +1, it means +1. So if you start from -1, -1 is the end thing, right? End index, right? Last index, right? So after that -1, like if we mention this positive step 1, it will just try to access the right side of that particular thing. So there is nothing, no string present right side, right? So that's the reason why it is returning empty string. So that if you want to access from here, you can just use this negative step to get to slice the string. So that's about this string slicing. If you want to, like if you want to entirely reverse the string, you can just use like double colon, and if you just mention -1, you can just see it reverses entire string. So this is about the string slicing. I hope you understand what is string slicing, how you can do that. And the next thing what we will do is string methods in Python. So let's discuss some inbuilt methods in string in Python. So I will use this same a variable here to explain you what are the string methods in Python. So if you want to access the string methods, you can just specify that a variable a here, and if you just mention dot, and if you just press tab here, you can see all the methods available in Python, or all the available string methods in Python here. Capitalize, case fold, center, count, encode, ends with x. So there are a lot of string methods here. So let's discuss one by one here. First one is first capitalize. So if we just use this capitalize function, it will convert the first character to uppercase. So for example, I will create another variable Python with all like lowercase letters, and if I just use this method, okay, that capitalize off, you can see it's just returning by converting the first case of the string to uppercase. So that's the use of this capitalize. And the next method is case fold. Case fold is nothing but if I will create another variable b with all uppercase letters. So if I use this b dot case fold of, you can see it return, like it converts entire string to lowercase. So that's the use of this b dot case fold of. So that's the use of this case fold of method. And the next thing is center of, returns a centered string. For example, let's take this b, and if I just use this method b dot center of, and you have to specify how many, if I just specify some value 10 here, you can see it will create a string with 10 characters, right? Generally this normally this Python is 6 characters, the length of this is 6. So it will create an 10 means it should add some other 4, right? So it will move to center. It means the left side it will add 2 spaces, and right side it adds 2 spaces. So overall it becomes 10. So that's so in that way it can make this entire string to center. So that's the use of this center method. And the next method is count off. If you want to count a number of times a particular character value occurs in a string. For example, if I use, so let's understand this with example. B, I'm using this b string, b variable, b dot, in that b variable how many times this p returned, how many times this p occurred. So you can see here only one time this p occurred, so that's why it returned 1. So using this count we can check how many times a particular character occurs in a string. So that's about this count. And if you want to encode something, like generally this Python, right, generally this is normal Python. If you want to change this Python to some other code, like if you want to encode with something, you can use this b dot encode of function, encode of method. So and by default it uses UTF-8 encoding to encode that particular string. So that's the use of this encode. And if you want to check if a particular if the particular string ends with some particular value, if this string ends with n or not, so you can just specify b dot ends with of n. So if you mention this, you can see it returns true. So this ends with function, ends with method returns true or false. If it ends with that particular character what we given, it returns true, or otherwise in other case it returns false. So that's about this ends with method. And the next thing, if you want to find any index of the particular character in a string, you can use dot find of method, right? Like if I'm just specifying this index b, I'm just searching index of, I'm just searching the index of t, so it returns 2. So this is the index of that particular character t in that string. So that's, and even you can use dot find of method to check to get the index of particular character. So I'm using dot find of t, even this returns the same output. And the next method is like format method. If you want to it format means it specifies some values in a string. So like I will create an empty string with some placeholder in it, and I'm just printing a dot format of. You can see in this place of placeholder it specified this string. So that's the use of this a dot format. Even we have discussed this format in basics of Python video, while discussing this print statements, print formatting methods. We have discussed this format. If you want to check if all the characters in the string are alphanumeric, like alphanumeric, or if all the characters in the string are numeric, if all the characters in the string are alphabets, if all the characters in the string are like empty spaces, there are some specified some particular methods for that. So I'm just using this b dot is num of, it returns true. It means this is all num method returns true if it returns true only if a particular string contains alphabets or numerics. So that's, and similar way if you want to, there are some other methods. Is alpha of method, it returns true only if particular string contains all the characters as alphabets. So that's about this is alpha. And similarly there are some methods using this is, like this identity operator is, you can check those. And there are some methods like is upper of, which means it returns true if all the characters in the string are uppercase. And is title of, it returns true the string follows some rules of a title. It means the particular first letter of the string should contain caps. So similarly there are some these methods which with this identity operator is. And let's discuss some important methods. You can use a, just printing a is all or small case letters, right? You can just use dot upper of method to convert all these things, all these small case letters to uppercase letters. And you can use, similarly you can use a dot lower of method, like I will print this b is all are uppercase letters, right? So I'm using this b dot lower of. You can even use this to convert this all uppercase letters to lowercase letters. And if you want to convert the first character in a string to caps, you can use this a dot title of method to convert this particular. You can see here it converts the first character in the string to capital letter, like uppercase letter. So that's our use of this title method. And instead of using this lower and upper, you can even use this swap case of method. It returns, like if the string contains uppercase letter, it returns to lowercase. It converts to lowercase. If the string contains lowercase letters, it converts to uppercase. So that's the use of this swap case of method. You can see here generally this normally this a it has all are lowercase. You can see it returns everything as uppercase. So that's the use of this swap case. And you can use replace of. Instead of some particular character in a string, you can if you want to replace something, you can use this replace of. So I'm just using this a dot replace of. If you just press shift tab, you can see the input should be, defaultly it takes two inputs, like old is equal old and new. Which character you have to replace, first you have to mention that I'm giving this lost character n here, and instead of that I'm giving some other character like x. You can see it replaces this n to x. So that's the use of this replace method. Like there is an important method like dot join of method. So for example, let's take this, use this a, like for example I'm creating, like I'm just using this and I'm using this dot join of A. You can see it returns this string by joining this two in between them. You can even just specify some space and you can add that, like you can use this join of A. You can see it returns the string by creating spaces between these characters of the string. So that's the use of this join of method. So I have explained like important methods which we use most commonly in Python. There are a lot of methods. If you want to explore all those methods, if you want to check all those methods, I have said you before, like just press tab and you will get all the methods present in Python for string, and you can use those methods and you can just explore those and you can just try with those methods. So that's about this video. I hope you understood string slicing and what are the methods, string methods present in Python. If you understood the video, please share your feedback in the comment section, and thanks for watching.